The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Hello and welcome into Week 10 of the Mike Clowney Show as Carson-Newman celebrates a happy senior day with a 27-21 win over the Limestone Saints. Hello everyone, I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier, alongside Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Clowney. And Mike, what a senior day. Behind an offensive line that is bereft of seniors outside of Jesse West. You rush for more than 450 yards, put up more than 500 yards of total offense. And Troy Dindy only rushes for the fifth most yards in school history with 262 yards. We'll focus on that minutia in a moment, but what about a small senior class that gets up to go out of Berktar Stadium with a W and a resounding W?
We're excited about those guys, being able to finish up with a victory here. A few of them that's been here, like we talked about, over the long haul. And so just to have them be able to come out here and finish with a win is something we're excited about. And then even for the new guys, their only experience here at Carson-Newman, most of them, you want them to make sure that they have something they can remember.
This was a contest that you controlled. You controlled the clock, controlled the football, had a few mistakes in the first half and early in the third quarter, but largely were able to swat them away and play keep away to win it. Obviously, still some things to work on, but what steps did your team take this week that enabled them to get over the hump and get into the win column?
Yeah, I think, number one, we were able to still come out with a little bit of energy, and EJ's score, on the first play of the game, I think was really big for us. Kind of got us moving, and then we were able to go score again and get up, 13-0. But then that's where we hit that little spot that, we've learned to do traditionally right now, and we wound up letting them get the lead, 14-13. But I think the thing you're most proud of was our guys were able to come back and recover from that. That's something that we haven't done well over the rest of the season.
You talk about the fast starts. Historically, they haven't been good for Carson-Newman. The Eagles were on a 3-game losing streak when scoring on the first play from scrimmage dating back to 2012. But you take that E.J. Davis touchdown run, 69 yards on the first play of the game. What set up on that play to shake him loose and get him into the open field?
We've got a new guy on the offensive line this week, and it's amazing. He comes around, he gets a great kick-out block. EJ sticks his foot in the ground and gets vertical. And then, he did a good job of making guys miss, but we had receivers blocking downfield. That's the thing that kind of turns a lot of those runs from first downs to touchdowns. And we talked about that and talked about that, but we'll be able to see that on video now.
Truly astounding, the chunk yardage plays. You had 12 rushes for 10 yards or more, accounting for 316 of your 462 yards. And then 4 rushes that were 30 yards or longer. How much of that is the line doing its job? How much of that is your Daquan Dudley's, Garel Sumare's, Luke Simpson's of the world maintaining blocks downfield?
It's an accumulation of all of it. I thought the offensive line did a good job of giving those guys gaps to run in. I thought they did a good job of getting the ball vertical as opposed to running a little bit more too far lateral. Running 20 yards to get 2. We want to get our foot up and turn those 2 into 20. And so I thought, overall, all of those guys offensively bought in, did a really good job. Now, the blocks downfield, that's what turns the 10-yard run into a 20 and 30-yard run.
Carson-Newman gets the job done on senior day by a final score of 27-21 over the Limestone Saints. Break down the first half after these messages. This is the Mike Clowney Show. All right, back to the Mike Clowney Show. Carson-Newman gets the job done over the Limestone Saints on Senior Day. Final score 27-21. Mike Clowney, let's talk about the rushing attack in Troy Dendy. 262 yards. That's the 8th highest total in Division II this year, the 5th highest total in school history, 6th all-time. 250-yard rushing day in school history, and he averages more than 12 yards a carry, which outside of Kenneth Tyson's crazy 9-carry, 250-yard day for the Hall of Famer against Fairmont State, among the greatest yards per carry for a 200-yard rusher. He kind of alluded to it with the offensive line, but what did Troy Dendy have working for him that enabled him to get chunk yardage virtually every time he touched the football?
I'm super proud of Troy. He's had a bumpy after being freshman of the year. You want to come back out, you want to duplicate that. But he's had a bumpy year. He's battled through some injuries and some different things to try to get to the point to where he did what he did this weekend. You know, that's something that we know that Troy's capable of. You know, the big thing I'm proud of for him is just like a lot of the extra yardage runs, you know, to where he just keeps his feet going. You know, he continues to run. You know, he was relentless in his runs. You know, Troy, he's a hard-nosed kid, and that's what you want to see from him every Saturday.
He had multiple runs where stiff arm, juke move, spin move, and then each of his touchdown runs. The first one, the 30-yarder, was nice enough with the tackles that he broke. But the second one in the third quarter was downright astonishing, a Sports Center caliber play where he ends up on somebody's back and has the intelligence, the football IQ, the wherewithal to realize, hey, my tuchus didn't touch the ground. Let's go score 6.
And so that's, you know, you talk about finish, and so I think that's one of the biggest things. Every run you have at running back, you want to try to work to finish those runs. And so the finishing mark is hearing the whistle. You know, and he didn't hear a whistle. He continued to keep his feet moving. He continued to spin, you know, until he was able to get out of that run and then go cap it off with a touchdown.
How incredible is it that this offensive line, playing its 10th combination of players in 10 weeks, is able to gel together with a brand new left guard, I think, in Kylik Lynch, and clear the way for the 25th most rushing yards in school history.
It was fun to watch. Like those guys, from last spring, you know, to now, you know, we have really struggled to put a group together, and just to watch their relentlessness, you know, to watch them every week, knowing that, you know, they're the keystone of everything that happens. You know, if they don't perform well, we don't perform well, and just to watch them own that, you know, it's something I think that they should be proud of. Their parents should be proud of.
Had the fast start, jumped up to a 13-0 lead, but then had some miscues, a fumble, a pick 6. Limestone scores 14 points off turnovers to take a 21-20 lead into the halftime locker room. It spiraled a little bit against Mars Hill. Against the Saints, it didn't. Was it just, hey, we've been here before, we know how to respond after the Saints struck quickly?
You know, that's one thing that we talked about, you know, last week against Mars Hill. It was the most evident because we had a lead, and then all of a sudden, you know, we're down, and we're down 3 touchdowns, you know, or at least, you know, it takes 3 touchdowns for us to win. And so that was one, and it's happened at other points in times, but it's just a little bit tougher at the end of the game to put your finger on it. But at Mars Hill, I think we were able to really put our finger on it for them to see, like, it's just 3 plays. You know, a lot of times it's not stuff that the other team did, but just things that we did to handicap or hurt ourselves. And then, you know, we're going to, you know, every now and then you hurt yourself, but you don't need to kill yourself. You know, we talk about stuff like, let's not go commit suicide. You know, every now and then we get a bump, we get hurt, we get a bruise, like we can overcome that, but don't kill ourselves. And so that's what they were able to do, you know, coming back out in this game.
Carson-Newman was down at the halftime break, 21-20 to the Limestone Saints, and we break down the first half highlights here on the Mike Clowney Show.
The injured Cliff Cole. Eagles go with a handoff right side, and this is into the second level for the Eagles. Cutting back left, and now to the right across the hashes. It's E.J. Davis. Davis inside the 20 and 10. Davis outraces everybody to the end zone. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. A nice 69-yard run on the first play from scrimmage. And the Eagles are up 6-0, 18 seconds in. 27-yard line. Beamish from the gun. Takes the shotgun snap. Drops back to pass. He's pressured. He's hit from behind, and he's dropped for a sack back at the 25-yard line. Alexander finishes him off. Eagles get good pressure from the backside. Brown out of the gun. Takes the shotgun snap. Play fake. Throws the screen. Right side. That is complete to Daquan Dudley for first down yardage. Slips it along the right sideline until he's forced out of bounds up at midfield. For the Eagles, right hash at the Saints, 30 with a 7-0 lead, looking for more. Brown takes, gives Dindy left side. Dindy off left tackle, sheds a tackle at the 20. He's across the 10. He's across the 5. He's across the goal line. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Troy Dindy, 30 yards off left tackle. And the Eagles add to it. It's 13-0 with 9:49. Patton out of the backfield to the right. Beamish on 1st and 10 out of the gun. Back to pass. Long ball. Wide open. Complete at the 10 and into the end zone. Touchdown, Saints. Ellison runs under it at the 10. He was streaking wide open from the right side of the field. Hauls it in. Beamish out of the gun. Patton to his left. It's a reverse. Right side, Peeler. Alexander giving chase, but Peeler has the edge, and Peeler has the end zone. Touchdown, Saints. Justice Alexander read it right, but didn't have the horses to catch up with Peeler, and he scores on the 5-yard reverse. Saints even. Alabama takes the shotgun snap and gives left side to Dindy. Dindy bursts free into the second level, steps out of a tackle at the 40, a stiff arm pass midfield, and Dindy dragging bodies into Limestone territory down to the 41-yard line. Chris Williams stops him, but not before Troy Dindy rattles off his second. Limestone territory facing 3rd and 7. Brown takes the shotgun snap. He's going to air it long for Dudley. Dudley runs underneath it at the 5, and Dudley houses it on the left sideline. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Daquan Dudley flipping in celebration. That'll draw some hankies, but Dudley. 13:39 to play in the second. Trips wide outs, 2 to the right. Brown takes, gives left side for Dindy. Dindy with a massive seam. He's across the 40, past midfield, and shoved out of bounds by Knight inside Saint territory. Down. Takes the shotgun snap on 4th down, gets Dindy straight ahead. He's got the first down and more. A cut back right to the 30 into the boundary, and Dindy cut down the 29-yard line by Lewis after a 15-yard gain. The 3rd and 5 for the Eagles from their own 8. Brown takes, it's a counter play left for Dindy. He's got the first down across the 10 and 20. Dindy one-on-one past the 40. Cuts back right, sheds a tackle at the 45. Jersey being tugged from behind across midfield, and finally forced out of bounds by Frederick in Limestone territory down at the 46-yard. Brown takes the shotgun snap, play fake, throws the slant right at a Saint, picked off. Headed the other way, and this is going to be a quick 6. Chris Williams with a blocker, and he doesn't even need him. Saints pick 6, just like that, tie game. Limestone deadlocked with the Eagles off the 55-yard interception return as
set it up.
Brown on 2nd and 7 takes the shotgun snap, gives Dindy left side again, has a hole, has the first down. Cut back right at the 30, upended at the 25 over the left side numbers by Holmes. Down at the 23-yard line, 15 yards.
All right, those are the first half highlights. Eagles down at the break to the Limestone Saints, 21-20. I'm Adam Cavalier alongside head football coach Mike Clowney. Mike, again, down by 1. Some self-inflicted wounds caused you to be down by 1. What was your message in the halftime locker room?
You know, exactly what we just talked about. You know, the message was like, you know, pointing out the fact that, like, it wasn't anything that Limestone had done, you know, special. Was the fact that we made a lot of mistakes to put ourselves, you know, down by 1. But we were just down by 1, you know, and so we felt like, you know, we had the ability to go back out and score, you know, really hopefully more than 1 touchdown, but we felt like we had the ability to score and to come back out and do what we needed to win the football game.
A second half that is in large part defined by what your defense does. We've talked a lot about offense through the first part of this show. Sorry to the former linebacker, but defense is what keeps you and puts you in position to win this game. Limestone gets a muffed punt and has it 1st and 10 at the 14. Keep them to a field goal attempt, which they miss. then give up a long run on a fake punt later in the game. They get the ball down at the 1, but D.D. Brooks makes a tackle for loss. Jalen Anderson, back-to-back pass breakups. The Saints turn it over on downs when they had it literally inches from the goal line. What can you say about the defense in those moments to, 1, keep it to a 1-point game, and then 2, protect the lead when you're up by 6 at the goal line?
Proud of the way those guys responded. You talk about the tackle for loss by D.D. Brooks. Like, that was a big play to kind of get them back off the goal line, to give us a little bit of room to work. And then, Jalen, he almost picks that ball at the end. That's one thing we challenge them with, is competing. Pass breakups are great, but at some point in time, if we have an opportunity to try to get 2 hands on the ball, and Jalen did that. But just, those guys defensively were put into some tough situations. And, at the end of the day, that's their job. And they'd be able to kind of fight their way out of those situations. And, it's tough, but, they were able to respond, to kind of go in and get those stops to where, we could win the football game. We talked all year that when we win the football game, it was going to be because we put the whole thing together. And so that's where, offensively, we needed a touchdown, and we found a way to get one. Defensively, we needed stops, and our guys found a way to get them.
Really interesting, too, that this result comes on a day where your kickoff units were good, but not the stratospheric levels of insanity that they've been all year long. It played well enough, probably outside of the fake punt, but in the special teams, that facet of the game was working as well.
Special teams, we probably struggled a little bit more than we have all year, but we were able to put the other 2 together. And so the return team didn't have the magic that we've had in some of the other games. But fortunately now, offensively, we were able to move the ball and still score. And so that was a big plus. And then I thought our kickoff cover team, I thought, they were put in a couple tough situations, and I thought they responded well to still kind of keep the field position primarily at our advantage.
Carson-Newman gets the job done over the Limestone Saints. Final score, 27-21. We'll break down the second half after these messages. This is the Mike Clowney Show. All right, back on the Mike Clowney Show as Carson-Newman gets the job done on Senior Day by a final score of 27-21 over the Limestone Saints. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier, alongside Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Clowney. Mike, a second half where you just had the one offensive touchdown and hadn't punted to that point in the game, but an offense that was stuck in some horrendous field position situations. Your final 4 drives, none of them started on the plus side of the 20. And yet, the offense was able to put together some 8-9 play drives to at least flip field position and play keep away. Your final 3 possessions gobble up more than 13 minutes of game clock. Didn't score, but were able to salt it away with a field position battle late. What's that say about this team's maturation and growth?
I think in a lot of those situations, like when you work those situations, okay, we're backed up. Like we have to get a first down. We have to get the ball off the goal line. We've got to move the ball. Does a couple things for us, keeps the defense off the field. And it gives us a chance if we do punt. It still gives us field position advantage at the end of that series. And so, just those guys being in those situations, Coach Persley and his staff being able to talk them through that on the sideline to where we can get the ball moved back off of our goal line, into their territory to force them to have to, snap the ball, be able to score.
You made some changes with the locations of the offensive staff. Jay Guillermo, Brett Story go upstairs, Josh Turner, Brock Persley come downstairs. What's that enabled you to do from a coaching perspective?
I think it helps us get corrections done a little bit more immediately. With Coach personally being on the field, there's a little bit less that we have to filter, from up top to get the information downfield to the players, so it's there. So now a lot of the, what we're seeing is coming to him that gives him a little bit better chance to make quicker decisions on the field because he's closer to the kids.
Defensively, a great push. Ja'Cory Long, career-high 5 tackles, gets in the backfield for a couple tackles for loss as a freshman, and Justice Alexander has been doing it all season long. He continued. What did you see out of your front four, especially late in the game, to put Limestone in some tough yardage situations?
That group's a group that, like, we talk about the offensive line a lot, but this group defensively is equally important. Coach DeWeese, and he's done a great job of getting those guys to buy in. And you're starting to see a guy like Ja'Cory Long be able to make plays as a freshman. Justice, who's been here for a year, that we knew was a raw talent, that, be able to kind of make the transition that he's made. I go in that room, man, those guys are committed to one another. They're committed to what's going on. They communicate. For the most part, you see them do the right thing both on and off the field. And so I'm really proud of the growth of that position.
Carson-Newman gets the job done over the Limestone Saints. You are your second half highlights.
Trips go to the wide side left. Young takes. Dindy gives straight ahead. Has first down yardage. Running along the right hash. He's inside the 20. Slips out of a tackle. Shakes another one at the 30. Still on his feet past the 20. Dindy inside the 10 and 5. Dindy, a Houdini-like run. Escapes and scores. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Dindy puts Carson-Newman in front and has his second career 200-yard rushing performance, a 46-yard tally to the house. And the Eagles retake the lead, 26-21, with 8:06 to play in the third. First and 10 Saints right hash at their own 20. Beamish from the gun will toss it. Patton left side. Nowhere to run. Nowhere to hide. Patton slung down by Ja'Cory Long. 7 yards deep in the backfield, back to the 13. It's right to the line. Wide out to the left. Snap back, hand off Patton, and the Eagles shoot it. Daniel Dixon Brooks anticipates and blows it up in the backfield, back at the 5, a loss of 4. Snap back, Beamish will roll right, throw back across his body, incomplete to the right side of the end zone. Was intended for Ellison, but Jalen Anderson got us a goal from the 4. Beamish from the gun, back to pass, throws the screen, left side, incomplete. Anderson jumped the route, nearly had a pick 6, but he at least keeps the Saints out of the end zone. 43, Stewart in motion in the backfield again. They'll fake the end around to him. Beamish back to pass. Beamish swallowed up. He's sacked in the middle of the Eaglehead midfield logo. Trezell Giardini Weish vanishes. Pearson in motion out of the backfield. Brown takes it to a screen to Pearson. Complete at the 22. Jitterbugging around. He's across the 30 for first down yardage. And he gets leveled by Williams up at the 33-yard line. 10 yards to LaMarcus Brown. Beamish brings Patton in motion. Empty set. Beamish will throw. It's batted into the air, and it drops for an incompletion. Beamish hit as he was throwing. I would presume based on the left hash for the Eagles at their own 10. Brown takes. Counter. Left side. Dindy. Dindy a stiff arm pass to 15. And he is a shoelace away from 6. Lewis latches onto his ankle and drags him down up at the 2 wide set. Counter, left side. Dindy has a seam and first down yardage across the 30. Totes it across the 35 up to the 36 before he's knocked down at the waist by Ray and Corley. Troy, 6 seconds left. Beamish back to pass. Throws over the middle of the field. That's complete. Here's a lateral. Left side. Pitch it around for Patton. Patton chucks it up. It's back. The ball is loose. Rondro Peebles scoops it up. And Peebles is going to get down. And that is how this one is going to end. Limestone went for the hook and ladder. But the Eagles sniff it out and are able to pick up the victory. The final score, 27-21. Carson-Newman takes it over the Limestone Saints.
Those are your second half highlights from Carson-Newman's 27-21 Senior Day win over the Limestone Saints. When we get back on the Mike Clowney Show, it's time for our Eagle Spotlight. That's after this. Back on the Mike Clowney Show as Carson-Newman prevails on Senior Day, 27-21. The Eagles win it over the Limestone Saints, and it's time now for our Eagles Spotlight. And this week, Michael Watrang puts it on the two-sport star, Trezell Giardini-Weish.
A Twitter direct message and a high school principal solved an equation for Trezell Giardini-Weish. The two-sport star took a semester off before college, spurning offers for either football or track and field. But a DM from the Eagles swung a door open for both sports. His high school principal attended Carson-Newman. The stars aligned, and a path was clear for the Georgia native.
I was more blessed than anything, because I took that semester off, and I was still going to my high school's football games, and I'm sitting in the stands like, man, I miss it, and I unfortunately not signed anywhere at that time, and I was praying for somewhere to go, and Carson-Newman came, and so I just feel like I was blessed, and this was my opportunity to just show my athletic ability in a small school like this.
Giardini-Weish has taken full advantage of his opportunity, winning a National Player of the Week award on the football field and a South Atlantic Conference championship in discus. Director of the track program, David Needs, a former CN quarterback, 18-year football coach, and former AFCA National Assistant Coach of the Year, thinks his most valuable asset is something greater than his athleticism.
I think that you look at Trey, and he's probably one of the most unselfish people I've ever met in my entire life. That Trey truly wants to give and invest in others, not just in Carson-Newman, but even in track meets. We go to other teams. The guys that will go out of their way and that usually don't talk to anybody, that will talk to Trey because they find him uplifting and building. And so when you look at Trey's story and you look at who Trey is, here's a guy that has every reason to worry about just himself. And here's a guy that doesn't do that hardly ever at all. That he truly invests in his teammates are better because Trey cares about them and does the things that he wants to. I'm a better coach because I get to coach Trey.
With 26 games under his belt between the lines, Giardini-Weish is a key leader on a young football team. His experience gives a guideline for impressionable younger players. For Needs, he sees an impact that will be felt around Carson-Newman for years to come.
Trey is such a great leader because he invests. Like he's not a leader because, hey, I'm good, so you need to listen to me. I need to know what your name is, what you do. If you're a freshman, hey, I care about you. And so when you have a guy like that, it's hard to be selfish when you have somebody that is so unselfish and invests, that they expect the norm to be, hey, when a new guy comes in, just like Trey is doing with me, I'm going to be that same way with somebody else. And so the lasting legacy for our program is that guys 4 years from now will be able to trace back their lineage to a guy that worked with Trey and can say, I'm a better athlete because this guy invested in me, and it's something that Trey was able to do for himself.
There is a clear message for players looking to find their way during times of self-doubt, but Giardini-Weish has his motivational speech prepared.
Biggest thing is believe in themselves. In high school I did have doubts. I'm too small, I'm at the wrong position, but at the end of the day, I had my defense coordinator in high school always tell me, you got this. It's not about your size, it's your heart. And if I were them, just believe in yourselves and just trust the process, because when you get to the college and the small school, they'll do you right and you'll get to where you want to be.
For decades, athletes have come through Mossy Creek playing football and starring on the track team. Coach Mike Clowney knows sometimes an individual may favor one over the other, but that is not the case with the senior saying, quote, he's a leader on this campus, not just in football. We know he is going to give great effort. For the Mike Clowney Show, I'm Michael Watrang.
All right, thank you very much, Michael Watrang, Mike Clowney, Trezell Giardini-Weish. Fun kid to be around, and you kind of alluded, he got touched on in your press conference leading up to Limestone. Fully invested to both the football program and the track program, and also academically, one of the stronger guys on this team and in the athletic department.
Trezell, just an all-around guy. He comes out here, he plays football. You can count on him being here. He's one of the guys that you brag on. A lot of times you have guys that come from class or they do something late and they're going to be at practice a little bit late because they've got something else going on. But it's no surprise when you see Trezell come across the track, come across past the soccer field running to get to football practice. And so like his heart, man, that desire to, not just please, but to be the best that he can be in all of the stuff that he's doing, I think it's a testament to him and the people that raised him.
Should note, too, pretty good at both. National Player of the Week 2 years ago in football, all-region discus thrower in track. So gets it done at a pretty high level in two different disciplines.
He's bought in. He's the guy that, when we're on the road, we look and he's got a laptop and he's like, this play, this is going to be this, this is going to be that, and he's got other guys that play up front that's going through and doing the same thing. He understands commitment. He understands what it takes to be successful. And that's what I tell some of our guys. It's the same blueprint regardless of what you do. Mm-hmm. And so he's kind of figured that blueprint out, and he uses that football. And when he goes to track, he uses that track. And when he's on campus, he uses it on campus. And it allows him to be a complete person.
Turn your attention to the regular season finale, shortest road trip of the year. Just the short John on 11E over to Greenville to play the Tusculum Pioneers, a team that is smarting a little bit after dropping one this past week. Probably, though, the focus still on Carson-Newman growth as opposed to what the Pioneers are doing.
It will be. I mean, we're glad that we got a win this weekend, but we still aren't there yet. We still have a lot of things that we need to continue to work to improve. So, we'll still continue to focus on Carson-Newman more than we'll continue to focus on Tusculum.
Mike Clowney, pleasure as always. Congrats on a win to wrap up the home portion of the schedule.
Thank you.
It's Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Clowney. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier. This has been the Mike Clowney Show. Thanks for watching.